I'm not sure, Rob, that everybody will come by these times. As you mentioned, 15 or maybe
Yeah,
30 minutes
Yeah.
either 15 or 30 minutes before the talk.
before the talk, exactly. I'm still wondering where Dmitry is. Everybody will come by these times. As
All
you
him,
mentioned, 15
Lena, all
or
him.
maybe 30
Okay, we're now live on YouTube.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Okay, you keep everybody occupied for the next couple of minutes. We'll wait a few minutes while everybody gets here. And
Very well, welcome from Russia.
why don't you tell us a little bit about Trendy? And then I'm going to talk about EFL Talks. So,
Okay. So, first of all, it's my great pleasure to Rob, who made this, who are making this event happening here. So it's a joint event of EFL Talks and Trendy English. And for those who don't know us, Trendy English is a community of English language teachers and language school directors. And we unite enthusiastic, open-minded people just for the sake of professional and personal development. Trendy English organizes a lot of events, mostly these days, mostly online. To be honest, now we are starting to provide face-to-face meetings. And the closest ones are supposed to be in some southern cities of Russia, Commission, and some other neighboring cities, I would say. So our next event is supposed to be in April. It is in April. It's called Trendy English Games. It's about gamification and using games. And our main event is planned for the end of the year. This is, say, late November. It's Trendy English Conference 10. So this year we'll be celebrating 10th anniversary of the Trendy English community. And we are really aiming at inviting all interested people in joining this amazing conference. It is going to be a real global. Okay. That's it, Rob.
okay. All right, I'm just making sure all the links are working. Everything's working fine. And hopefully we'll have people joining on the YouTube channel soon. We've got more of our speakers are showing up. Give me a moment and we'll get started. And let's see. So Dimitri's here. Let's make Dimitri a co-host. And all right, we have some more people showing up. So let's get started. I'll be talking in the meantime. Well, first of all, hi, I'm Rob Howard, and welcome to EFL Talks Trendy. Actually, we should call it Trendy 2 now, huh?
Yeah.
We're going to start catching up. Hi, Dimitri. And it's lovely to see all these smiling faces, except for me. It's a beautiful day, and I want to welcome you. For those of you who are not familiar with EFL Talks and you're new, let's just give you a quick presentation so you can see a little bit about us. First of all, we started over 5 years ago, and we just celebrated in October our 5th anniversary. And the whole idea is to bring CPD to teachers all over the world that's fast and fun, but mostly free. We can't all afford to go to conferences. And right now, nobody's going to live conferences because we're not traveling. But 5 years ago, when everybody was, we decided to start this online. And we're keeping it going, and I'll show you why. And we are the original teachers teaching teachers. And the whole idea behind this is I thought of doing something different, 10 minutes in 10 PowerPoint slides. The idea of this is you have one basic point that you can really get to, and it's easy for teachers to sit while they're going on the bus, the train, the tram, going to work, that they can catch up with CPD. We've had a lot of different ones here. You can see Trendy is becoming very popular. I think this is the third or maybe fourth we've done with Trendy. And we've had 36 different ones from all over the world with different themes, with different speakers. We've had Women's Day. We've been all over the world. We raised money for the people in Puerto Rico after the earthquakes, one we're very proud of. And you'll see here, we were nominated in 2016 for the British Council Elton's Award, which I was very happy with. This is after our first two, we got a nomination. We also have won twice an EVE Award, which, if you're not familiar with EVE, it's Equal Voices in ELT, and I'll show you why. But we've been over 5 years. We have over 400 EFL talkers, and I want to thank each and every one. You're going to see down in the corner here on the EFL Talks a little picture that keeps popping up like it did. And these are our speakers. We've had over 400 speakers. It's getting very hard to put together that composite. And speakers come from all walks of life. We have famous speakers. We have brand new teachers. We have them from all over the world, from over 200 countries. And the nice thing about it is we've acquired over 600 videos, 10 minutes long, on all different subjects about ELT and teaching. And we'll talk a little more about that too. So if you have 120 free hours, like you're home for the weekend, I challenge you to sit there and watch all of our videos. Hopefully, if somebody does, we're going to give out an award. But to date, I told you about the EVE Award. We are concerned about parity. Parity has been a big thing in ELT, especially throughout Europe. And so far, we've had 254 women, 143 men, a puppet, a robot, and a frog. If you really are confused by that, watch the videos. And we don't make any difference between native and non-native. A good teacher is a good teacher, period. And as you can see, we try and keep a high percentage of women and non-native speakers. So all this can be found on the EFLtalks.com website. And if you go to the website, you'll find everything that you need to know. You'll find our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and we also have another group, EFLTD, for teachers, where you can all share your ideas, courses, and everything else with other teachers. Of course, all our recordings are on the YouTube channel. So you just go to YouTube, where you're probably watching us live right now, and you can go through. We have different playlists depending on the event, and you can go and search through over 120 hours. To keep us going, we're everywhere. So as I told you, our Facebook group, we hope you join us there. It's free also. It's EFL Talks. And our new group, EFLTD, Teacher Development. So we hope you join us there. And we really hope that you become a future EFL talker. So we're always looking for new speakers, new ideas. For instance, you see Maria's here, and Maria's new. And we welcome everybody to be an EFL talker, because we all have something to share. And by way of supporting us, if you go to Amazon, We came up a few years ago with the companion guide, which sells for about, I believe it's $1 for the download. And we have an EFL Talks cookbook. And this really is a cookbook. No, it's not how to cook up a lesson plan or a good class. It's all about food. And we have recipes from all over the world. EFL Talks is something that I do on my own. We're not sponsored by anybody. We don't get money from anybody. We get a lot of support from people like Trendy and EFL Magazine. But in order to keep it going, all the proceeds after the profit on these books goes to support fast, fun, and free CPD. We encourage you to help spread the word and take a Cephley. Now, what's a Cephley? It's an EFL Talk selfie. So turn around, get the screen in your shot, and take a picture of yourself and plaster it all over social media. The larger we grow, the better. And remember, we're here to help teachers from all walks of life from all over the world. So spread the word. And as you can see, it's getting tougher and tougher. Maria, you'll be in there in about a week. So we'll get all the new speakers in there and fill in the blanks. And we'd love you to become part of this. And quite frankly, I couldn't do this without all the EFL talkers that have helped out. Everybody here, and I'm sure as you're looking through, you'll recognize some faces. Everyone here has volunteered their time. They've given up the time on a Sunday to be here for the live event, to do recordings. Some people have done 4 or 5 different talks. And without them, EFL Talks would never have gotten off the ground and lasted for 5 years. So a big hand to all the EFL talkers and to the new talkers that are here today, and for all of you that are watching. So join us at EFL Talks. And with that said, let's get started with the exciting lineup we have today. And let's see. Right now, the first one up is Maria. So Maria's first, and then we have Dimitri. And we'll go on through there. So Maria, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. All right. Now, Maria's new, so, she's not used to it, but we have the official EFL Talks timer here. And you have 10 minutes, and I'll cut you off whether you're done or not. Okay?
Yeah, got it.
So take it away, Maria.
All right. So, hi there. My name is Maria. I'm from Novosibirsk, Russia, and I'm a teacher of English, a teacher trainer, and I also own a language school here in Novosibirsk. The topic I'm going to present today is an activity that it's one of my most favorite, and it's an activity that helps to develop students' speaking skills. It's based on the game Back to the Board. I'm sure all of you know that. And I love it mostly for 3 main reasons. First one is it's applicable for all ages and all levels. You can use it with pre-A1 students and up to C2. You can use it with preschoolers, primary kids, teenagers, adults, corporate business clients, and so on and so forth. You can use it. It's absolutely multi-purpose and cross-functional. You can use it at any lesson stage, for presentation, for revision, for practice, for production, for maintenance, as a gap filler, as a flexi stage, and so on. And it's absolutely no prep, because you only need a board, a marker or a chalk, and even a set of flashcards is optional. So I think you'll love it. So first thing I do is setting the rules, of course. I've got 3. Rule number 1, no miming, because I want my students to speak. Rule number 2, no Russian, no L1, because I want them to speak English. And rule number 3, no cognates. So, for example, if they explain the word swimming pool, they're not allowed to use swim, swimsuit, and other words like that. And this is the way we play it. I call it a game. And this is another reason I like it, because my students think they're playing. They don't think they are developing their speaking skills. We play it whole class, and I usually pick one of the strongest students. It's usually the most courageous one, because he doesn't know what to do yet. And he's sitting or standing, his back to the board, and there's a word or a picture on the board behind him. And the rest of the class has to explain what this word means to this student. For the first time, I just let them play the game as it is. They shout out some isolated words, maybe some short phrases. I don't interrupt. I just help them to follow the rules. I remind them of the rules because they tend to mime, they tend to try to say something in Russian or to use some cognates. If this happens, if they fail, we just change the word and we go on with the same procedure. After they have completed the task and the student guesses the word, we start the work with the language they mentioned. While they're playing, I take notes. And, I write down the language they mention. For example, if they explain the word swimming pool, they might use big, many water, sport, and other words like that. So we revisit, we come back to the language they mentioned, and I ask them to improve the way they explain the word. I say, okay, guys, let's try to explain it in a better way. What about big? Can you make a sentence? Can you make a longer sentence using big? They would say, it's big. Okay, many water. Can we really say many water? So we come to, there's much water in it. And, well, you can do sports there. So we reshape those single words into short sentences. As a level up, when they feel pretty confident at this level, you can, ask them to combine those ideas into one big complex sentence, like it's a big place with much water where you can do sports. But it will happen a little later, yeah? So in this particular class, after we have revisited and reshaped the language, I leave those phrases on the board as a model, as a scaffold, so that they can use those structures, that grammar, changing some words to explain the next word and the next word and the next word. I usually take one lexical set because the structures are more likely to be similar. So we play this game for several classes, and then when I feel that they feel pretty confident, I change the procedure. And now it's the student who explains the word to the rest of the class. Here, every student has a chance to speak, and a weaker student has had enough practice before they actually have to perform. This is less stressful. This is more comfortable for them. So that's why we start with this and go on with this procedure. And when I feel that they feel confident with this as well, I just put them into pairs and I organize the same work in pairs. And now they take turns to explain the words to each other in pairs. And this makes this activity even more effective. As a level up to this stage, you can also set a timer you can ask, you can limit the number of words they'll explain. You can use different lexical sets here. You can also use different lexical sets at the previous stages, but well, here as well. And for higher levels that tend to use, primitive language, they don't like to use those, words of a higher level. You can also use taboo words. You can write them down on the card. Yeah, there's a word they have to explain, and there are some taboo words that they're not allowed to use in their explanation. So this is the way it works. We start whole class when one student is to guess the word and the others have to explain what it means. Then we change it into this one when every student has to explain a word to the whole class, to the rest of the class, and then they do the same in pairs. This is the way we play this game. I'm done with my talk. Follow me. Unfortunately, I don't use Facebook much, but I'm pretty active on Instagram, on VK, and you can also send your feedback and questions if you have any by any source that is on the slide. Thank you very much.
Well, I told you to go faster, but that was fast.
I practiced.
Good. Well, you have 2 minutes left, so we'll put you on the spot.
Okay.
I like the fact that you mix things up a lot. You say as soon as the student gets comfortable, you change. And yeah. I think that's great. And I think a lot of teachers need to realize that this is an important part of their development, because in real life, everything changes all the time. So great. I like your ideas. And well, we thank you so much. And you did great for your first one. I didn't have to cut you off and go. So welcome and thanks, and stick around. And if you want to join in the YouTube channel, and you can chat with people that are watching, and stay here. But we hope to see you again, Maria. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, Rob.
Thank you. And next up, we have Dimitri, and everybody knows Dimitri. And Dimitri, you can bring up your slides.
I'll do it now in a minute, Rob. Now,
okay.
In a minute.
You're going to start off talking first?
It's my favorite English expression. Now, in a minute.
In a minute?
Can you see the screen?
Yes, just start sharing it. You're in the setup mode. Just put in present mode.
Second, 1 second.
No problem. We have time.
Good. It's good having time.
And I always have extra time for you.
Yep. Here we go. Can you see the presentation now?
No, it's still showing the setup.
So I'll do it different. I'll do it
slideshow.
I'll do it differently now.
Yeah. You're on a Mac, huh? I can't help you with a Mac.
I am on Windows.
Oh, you're on Windows?
But
well, it's in Russian, so try hitting F5. Function key 5.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Windows, that should automatically start the slideshow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I can still see the seaside in Liverpool when we met. And I remember that day. It was a very enjoyable day.
I do remember the day too.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Well, you're not on the presentation. Go to the presentation. I'm actually seeing your screen.
Good. What about now?
Nope.
That's strange because I can see the presentation.
Okay, do this. Stop sharing. Okay, now when you share, choose the PowerPoint presentation, not the screen. We'll get it, don't worry.
I'll try to do it from Google Docs. Maybe that's what I'll do.
It's the beauty of recordings. All this will be edited out.
Good. That's funny because I checked it so many times.
Yeah.
Dmitry, I believe your first attempt was successful. You had just switched to slides mode. That's it.
Well,
there we go. That's it.
You can see it, yeah?
See it perfectly?
Good, good. Do you see the first slide?
Okay, wonderful. So without further ado, I'm very happy you're here as always. And I hope to see you somewhere soon in person again. But in the meantime, I'm set you up for 10 minutes. I have the timer ready to go.
Thank you very much, Rob, for having me as speaker. I'm a controlled obsessed freak, so I have my own timer, which is called timer, and I'm setting my 10 minutes. We can check if our timers are correct at the end of the presentation. So my name is Dmitry, and I work for the Dmitry Nikitin School, and we teach kids, we teach teenagers, we teach adults. And at the Dmitry Nikitin School, we started an interesting practice of running retrospective sessions with our little students, with our teen students, and with our adult students as well. So what is a retrospective session? A retrospective session is a kind of a in-depth feedback session, which we run 4 times per year in every group with all students. So as you know, there are some levels of mindset and levels of leadership, where at the basic level of mindset and leadership, you can follow clear instructions. And unfortunately, in Russia, when we have kids from secondary schools, they are very well trained to follow instructions, but they can't give productive feedback. So the next stage of leadership and the next stage of mindset is a stage where our students can give productive feedback, by which I mean green feedback, positive feedback, and red feedback, kind of constructive, sometimes negative feedback. And that's especially difficult in some countries, like in Russia. That's very difficult to give red feedback, productive, constructive feedback to teachers, because they're thought as authority figures. And that's not how the modern world is organized. In the modern world, you have to give productive feedback to all people around you, to people who work for you, for your bosses, for your friends. That's how the world is organized, we believe, at the Dmitry Nikitin School, which can move you to the next level of leadership when you can work in teams on given tasks, and the highest level, you can formulate your own tasks, your own plans. So retrospective sessions help us to push our students gently from the first level of leadership, I can follow clear instructions, to the second level of leadership, I can give productive feedback. Retrospective sessions are run for 90 minutes, so it's a whole lesson. Now, that's very interesting because we all have to cover the curriculum and we all have to teach English. And English is a hard skill, isn't it? Listening, writing, reading, speaking, all the skills can be trained. However, we believe in the 21st century competencies, and beyond the language skills, which we may want to train at our ELT classes. And retrospective is retrospective sessions, that we do not look at them as at a waste of time. We look at them as a quite productive tool, which can help us to change the curriculum and to fit it better to the students' needs and to create a more productive environment, which will then lead to a more productive language teaching. So at the beginning of retrospective session, which we run 4 times per year, 90 minutes each, we remind simple rules. We don't take retrospective personal. Teachers do not take it personal. Learners do not take it personal. We listen. That's very important, to listen to what other people are saying. And everyone's voice is important to us. Everyone should have a voice during a retrospective session, and it's discussed for 90 minutes. The 4 retrospective questions are discussed in a formal way for 90 minutes. And we focus, together with kids, sometimes together with teenagers, we focus on improvement. And we want to create this mindset of continuous improvement for our learners. When they have voice, they see a problem as a challenge, not a problem, as an opportunity, not a problem, and they have the power to change the learning process. We think that's important. At the beginning of a retrospective session, students are given 2 questions. What did we do well within a certain period of time? In our case, it's 3 months. What did we do well in a certain period of time, which is 3 months? And what can we do better? What can we do better next time? And first, students answer the questions individually. Then they share it in groups of 4, and then they put it on an online board, on a mirror board, and then everybody reads it. And we discuss the questions. We openly discuss the questions, and a teacher is present, and a retrospective session is run by a different person, not a teacher who comes to a class, but a teacher is present, and the teacher is part of the team and gives her answers as well. And then when the answers, what did we do really well, what could have been done better, are discussed, we move to the next block. We ask kids a question based on what you've just heard. What ideas did you get? What ideas of improving the process did you get? And what are our action points? What are we really going to do later on to change our school to be a better place? Now, I think that's very important, because at the end of every retrospective session, an action plan is created. And when the action plan is created, we as school managers and we as English teachers have to follow it. If a plan has been agreed, we have to follow it, otherwise, and make real changes which are visible for our learners. Otherwise, retrospective sessions are going to be a waste of time. There's a variation of a retrospective session. So option 1, you can ask 2 questions first. What went well? What could have been done better within a certain period of time? You choose your period of time. It can be 2 weeks, a month, even a year. And then you create an action plan. The second option of running a retrospective session is draw a map of the past 2 months or the past 3 months, and on a map draw, on a timeline draw what went well and what didn't go that well as we've been wanting to, and then discuss it openly, and then finish with an action plan as well. And a useful tool for retrospective is dot voting, because when you create an action plan, sometimes actions can be not that realistic. Sometimes one action can conflict with a different action. So we give our learners, we give our students dot stickers, which are something like that, and we give them 7 dots to each student. Each student is given 7 dot stickers, and they vote for the best ideas, and the best ideas go to action plan, and they're really going to be implemented in the next iteration. So it's very difficult. That was very difficult for us at the Dmitry Nikitin School to work with the teacher's mindset, because teachers tend to look at retrospective sessions as at everything which has no clear connection with the hard skills, the 4 skills, the language skills. They look at it as a waste of time to begin with. But then we use the principle we all know: select, reject, supplement. And first we select, first we choose to cover the curriculum, and we reject all activities like retrospective sessions, feedback sessions, and we want to supplement our curriculum with more grammar and vocabulary. I think it's kind of the basic teaching mindset. And then with experience and with creating more effective learning environments, we move to a different teacher's mindset when we use, when our choice is to cover curriculum, but we also add more soft skills to our curriculum, because we understand that running a retrospective session and working on a soft skill of feedback, for example, giving and receiving feedback, can improve the teaching process and can make the formation of hard skills, which are the language skills, more effective. So my name is Dmitry, and I work for the Dmitry Nikitin School. Here are my web pages and my email address and my VK and Facebook accounts. I'm open to any kind of cooperation, and that was a pleasure for me to share my experience of running retrospective sessions, because I think it's a unique experience of an open dialogue of a teacher, a student, and a school manager. Thank you.
That was wonderful. And, you know, you make a very good point. I can remember back working in the teacher's room and so many teachers saying, oh, reflection on my class is such a waste of time. And really, you know, going back and getting the feedback from the students, I love, because we as teachers sometimes think, oh, I did the best class ever, and the students didn't connect to it, and then vice versa. So great. This was really good. Thank you
so very much, Rob.
And I'll see you soon. Great. So next up, we're going to go to Kate. Kate, let me give you.
Hi, Rob.
Co-host.
Can you
How
hear me fine?
You? I hear you perfectly.
Okay,
And
great.
You should have control now. Welcome, and we're so glad that you're here. And you know the rules.
Just give me a moment.
Yeah, you have 10 minutes.
All right. No. I mean, I just need to fix up my demonstration, and I'll be ready to start.
No problem.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yes, we see it.
Can I see perfectly as I move the slides?
Yep. We see it all. So, Kate, I will give you 10 minutes on the timer, and off you go.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I really hope that you're enjoying the conference and having fun. Actually, my topic is pretty much related to Dmitry Nikitin's topic, because that is really going to be about self-development and developing one's, your students' professional skills, right? So, as for me, I'll give you a couple of facts about myself. I've been teaching business English for over 14 years now, but most of the time, you know, my experience in my work with my students has not actually been about teaching English as it is, but instead, what I've been focusing on with my students is to help them build their careers and improve their professional skills, make them happier professionals, and achieve new goals and grasp new opportunities. That's why I want to share my experience with you today and talk exactly about that, how you can help your students be happier professionals. Before we do that, let's have a look at who needs our help in their professional life, right? So first of all, that's entrepreneurs looking to expand their business, develop their companies, their projects, and so on. Second of all, that's top executives whose goals are to elaborate and execute strategic decisions, right, in their business projects. Then I'm mostly dealing with middle management. Yeah, those are the people who are looking to expand their professional skills, who are looking for professional opportunities, career growth, and stuff like that. And finally, aspiring professionals, those who are looking to build up their career and acquire new skills, well, get to understand what they need to work on. And here, well, what is your role as a teacher? In fact, that is not to be a teacher, right? So first of all, you have to serve as a guide towards their goals, right? You need to help them achieve new, new perspectives, right? Well, open up new horizons. And here, you shouldn't act as a linguist or a teacher as it is, an English teacher, right? Rather, you could work as a coach, as a trainer, as an assistant. So how do you do that? Let's have a look at one of the tools that I use in my work that helps me help my students develop their professional, develop their professional and personal skills. Here's the technique that I have been using for years now. It has no name, but I will present it to you. Hope it's going to help you. So the goal of the technique of unpacking one's expertise is to help your students be more efficient at work, in their jobs, in their projects, in their business, and at the same time, help them be happier at work. So how do you do that? In fact, it's all about being aware of your own skills, your competences. And here are the clusters. Well, you have to talk to them a lot and ask them a number of questions. Well, I have classified those questions into categories. And your goal is to talk about their tasks, about their job, about their responsibilities, things they have to do at work, and then cluster them into different categories. First of all, talk about things that they like doing, something that they're inspired by, something they feel excited about at work. I'm sure everyone has tasks like that, right? Second of all, talk to them about things that they're good at. Maybe, they have taught their colleagues to do things, or things come easy to them. So try to identify the tasks and responsibilities that they're absolutely ace at. They could say, well, I'm an expert in that. I have good understanding. Then move on to the weaker points, right? Well, things they're not good at doing. Yeah, probably it's the things or the tasks where they need extra help, or they have difficulty understanding, or probably it takes them a longer time to execute those kind of tasks. And finally, things that they dislike doing, right? So they're complaining about this kind of job, this kind of task, and maybe they say, oh my God, it's boring. I'm so sick and tired of that. And well, here it is, right? You can see that the circles are kind of overlapping. And that's exactly that brings us to the strategy. So how do we interpret the outcomes of our conversation? Well, first, as you can see, the like doing and the good at doing section overlap. And here we arrive at the strengths So it's the strong points that, of your particular student. And in order to be a happier professional, to feel happier at work, the task, the strategy for your student will be to maximize those kind of responsibilities, those kind of tasks at work. Second, things that the person is not that good at doing just yet, but they love doing that. They feel inspired when executing this or that task. I'm sorry, that was the wrong one. So the things that they're not good at doing, and they at the same time they hate doing that. Those are weaknesses. And in order to make your day happier and brighter, you should minimize those kind of tasks. Probably even eliminate those from your to-do list. Then we're moving on to the section where like doing and not good at doing are overlapping. So things that you're not good at doing just yet, but you're absolutely inspired by. And those are developmental points, right? You just need to master, gain more expertise, gain more knowledge, develop your skills, and you're going to shine. You're just going to love what you're doing. And finally, the things that you are pretty good at doing, yeah, but you hate it so much. Oh my God. And those things are called, I've called them long outgrown. So here, what you could do, what your students can do about it is delegate, right? So teach someone else to complete the forms, right? To complete the tables. I hate doing that. I can do that, but I'm not that good about. I just hate doing that, right? Why don't I teach someone else do the task that I don't like? And here are the questions for you that you could use when talking to your students. You can do it within a class, absolutely, individual class or group classes, right? You can even organize, peer work or teamwork to talk about those things, right? So here are the questions for you that you could use. The questions for to discuss things that your students like doing. Here they are. I'm sure you can read them and take a picture. The questions that you could use to talk about things that your students good at, right? Things they're ace at. Here are the questions to use when talking about the things that your students are not exactly good at, where they would need some extra help or they're struggling with. And finally, here they are, 2 questions. The questions that deal with the tasks or responsibilities they just hate doing whatsoever, or just don't exactly like doing at all. And definitely you can come up with a great number of other questions. It's just the guidelines for you to make a start. I really hope that my tips will help you help your students, right? Maybe help yourself, help your teams, because you can use it at school, at your own school, if you're a school owner. I'd be happy if you, get in touch if you need extra help or you need extra tips about how to teach business English and how to help your students. So yeah, here's my contact, and good luck at work and good luck with your students. Thank you so much for listening. So Rob, how was it?
That was
good enough?
Great. Wonderful. It was. I'm just gonna stop your screen.
Okay. All right. Thank
now
you.
We can see you. Thank you
so much for the opportunity. I absolutely appreciate that.
Well, we need to get you more involved in the EFL BSIG, so you have to join us, okay?
I'd be absolutely excited to. Thank you.
I think I know one of the coordinators, so let's chat later on.
Sure, absolutely. You have a great day and enjoy the conference. And thank you so much for this opportunity, not just for me, but for the rest of the teachers. Have a great day.
Thanks, Kate. Bye now.
Bye, bye, bye.
And next up, we're going off to Karina. Let's see.
Hello, hello, hello. I
Hello,
think
hello.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Take a deep breath, smile, set your timer.
Yep.
You know you have 10 minutes. And welcome. This is your first talk, right?
Yep, that's
You
true.
excited?
Really.
Good. Well, we're excited to hear from you today. So here's the timer and take it away.
Hello, dear colleagues. First, let me tell you a few words about the context where I worked in. I'm an academic director, teacher trainer, and a practicing teacher at Language Studio Welcome. Our school is located in Moscow area, and we have about 1,000 students. There are 20 teachers in our team, and we teach general English classes as well as exam preparation classes, both for international exams and Russian state exams. So we end up dealing with a lot of students' writings. And you know that from my experience, the only skill that usually remains neglected is proofreading. It's a real challenge for an average learner to read through the text, identify their own mistakes, and correct them properly. I'm sure most of the teachers are well aware of this issue, but still we keep forgetting to include this tiny stage in our writing lessons. And that's why I see proofreading as a social outcast. It's present, but nobody gives it enough attention. So my aim today is try and persuade you to invest more time and effort into developing this skill. But why is it important? What can it give us? Here are some reasons. It increases students' confidence in a writing process in general, sharpens their noticing skill, helps them analyze the language better, thus master it faster, develops an ability to self-edit and self-assess. It is a necessary study skill for further learning, and it as a final result, it enhances learner autonomy. Well, even if we as teachers come to realize these benefits and remember to ask our students to check their works, they'll still can look like this. I've already checked it. No, please read and check it more carefully. But I've checked it. No mistakes? No. Okay. Well, most often learners feel tired and reluctant to do anything extra after writing. And that's why I'd like to share some steps which I found useful in my practice to make the process of proofreading and editing less challenging and more student-friendly. First, we need to attract more attention to the importance of checking students' writings by adding some fun. I think we all know the cost of a missing comma, like in the slide here, or a misspelled word. Well, find some fun examples on the internet. The crazier the better, and use them as a warm-up at your writing lessons. Invite students to identify a mistake and laugh at it together. Well, I'm quite confident the idea will stick to their memory and will function as a reminder to check their writings more carefully next time. Okay, next tip is to break the proofreading and editing process into small, swallowable portions. We can't overload our beginner writers with too much information. This might scare them away. Instead, having analyzed your students' weak areas, prioritize some areas and set 2-3 rounds of proofreading for the initial lessons of this topic. For example, first round can be read and identify any spelling errors. Done. Second round, read and check punctuation. Done. Third round, read and check the word spelling or the word order. Okay, done. Great. Stop. Can I have your works, please? Well, the idea is to focus on the task, for students to focus on the task at hand and allow students to acquire this habit comfortably. The next task that can be given to the students is to highlight words, phrases, or even sentences that they have improved after reviewing their piece of writing. Later, when you will be checking the work, highlight what else can be improved in a different color. Using color coding like this one can give you more insight into students' way of thinking, way of writing. It will also visualize the proportion of the errors which were self-corrected, and which were corrected by the teacher. At first, the later will probably outweigh, but gradually the situation will change, and eventually using this approach will provide evidence of students learning and acquiring this skill of proofreading. The next useful tool that I found rather effective is a personalized checklist. Apart from including the essential criteria, I leave some empty lines for individual problematic points. For example, most of the students at B1 level don't need to be reminded about the capitalization of I, but some still need this kind of support. After checking each final draft, discuss with the student what criteria can be added and what can be deleted as the situation has changed, has improved, and there is no further need in having it there. Well, I sincerely believe that the constant repetition of these tasks will help students become better at detecting their own errors. But the process of editing, we all know that, is more than that. So we need to teach students to see beyond grammar and spelling mistakes. We need to teach them to work on a word choice. How often do you watch your learners ending up using good, interesting, bad too much in their writings? I believe quite often. They are prone to rely too heavily on simple words and structures. That's why our next aim is to coach them to explore more advanced options. Students need to be taught how to use online dictionaries, English Copra, different concordances. For example, set a task to edit their work. First, they underline all examples of good and interesting in their writing, then give them some time to search online for the alternatives. You might need to spend more time here, depending on how often you add similar tasks in your general lessons, and how confident your students are using online dictionaries, collocation checkers, and tools like this. Well, summing up, let me briefly recap the main steps of teaching proofreading. First, cultivate students' interest in this skill. Teach them the main methods. Gradually delegate the responsibility, allowing more autonomy and promoting deeper editing. That's it. That is all that I wanted to share with you today. You can see my contacts. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to write to me. And let all our students become effective self-editors. Thank you.
Great. And let's stop sharing. That was wonderful. See, that was easy.
Thank you. Yep.
Great.
I enjoyed it, really.
Good.
Thank
And
you
I
for this.
particularly enjoy the use of thesaurus. I use it all the time. I don't think enough people teach their students how important this is. And, you know, just working on increasing vocabulary, it's easy.
Mhm.
So great. And by the way, next time you do a talk, I'm allergic to cats. So if you could leave the cat out of the picture, I was sneezing all the time.
Sorry.
All right.
I'll try. I didn't know that.
No, I'm teasing you. So that was great. Thanks again. And we'll
Thank
see you
you
soon, I hope.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share my ideas. It was great.
Our pleasure.
Bye-bye. Have
Bye
a good
now.
day.
You too. Okay, next up, let me make you a co-host. And hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly. We see you perfectly. You
Okay.
just need some white, and we have the USA there. We got red, white, and blue almost.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
Now I'm going to
So
share my screen. Can you see my presentation?
we see it perfectly. And I want to thank you for being here. And you know, you have 10 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be a speaker of this conference. And my name is Elena Krashkova. I'm a teacher trainer. I run a language center and an online school. But today I'm going to be talking as a teacher of teenagers. And I'd like to share some activities to motivate teenagers to speak. And the first aspect which we can't overlook is, of course, a psychological aspect which influences our classes and our work with teenagers. Actually, they are sometimes reluctant to talk. And we have to pay attention that they experience psychological and biological changes. And when it comes to speaking, we notice that they are so snowed under with work and classes that they are extremely exhausted, and sometimes it seems to them that they do not reach the expectations of teachers and parents. That's why the first point to take into account is topic. What do they want to talk about? Of course, themselves. And I've recently conducted a poll for my students, for my teenagers, and asked them about topics which motivate them to talk, which they would like to discuss. And these are the answers of my students. And of course, just because they want to talk about celebrities, it doesn't mean we should not keep to the plan of our course book, but we can use these topics as warming ups. And I start my classes from leading or warming up based on these topics. It's fashion, celebrities, latest news, trends is in social nets. And of course, sometimes we think that gadgets are a disaster, but we can't give gadgets a miss. And love of students to social nets can be turned into a very motivating topics. Apart from all this, they told that they would like to pay attention to psychological aspect, such as Ekaterina mentioned. They want to pass their to pursue their career, I would say, yes, and they want to set goals for future, and it's very important to discuss all these with our students. And of course, traveling and interesting places, gadgets are topics to discuss. But we know that sometimes personal questions do not work. For example, if we set topic fears and ask a question, what are you afraid of? Perhaps our students will not tell us. And what can we do? So we can ask them to imagine that they are a Harry Potter, for example. Yeah, you're Harry Potter. What are you afraid of? This gives them the impression of an imaginary character. They take a role and they start talking. Besides, there are some techniques which lead to very vivid discussions, and we have to provide the example. It's wonderful to start with a personal story. For example, once I took a trip to London and lost my passport. And of course, it's an imaginary story, but if you set such a story, you can follow this story with the question, have you ever experienced something like this? And I'm definitely sure your students will find some interesting, some catching stories which they can discuss. One more thing is to tell them that you understand them and start with a question. If I were a student, I would, and provide some things like, I would play football, I will not do my homework. This will give them the impression that you understand them, and build strong confidence between you and students. And offer them a question, if I were a teacher, I would. One more technique is to pay a compliment. Sometimes when we receive compliments, we say something like, if we hear, you're wearing a wonderful dress, we say something like, oh no, I bought it last year. And I set the task as, please pay free compliments to your partner, and ask them to go around the classroom and find a person and pay this person free compliments. It works perfectly, and they start speak. One more technique is to consider is, teacher is also human, and do not be afraid of telling them about your failures. For example, once I failed to pass the exams. This helps them to be closer to you. Also, feedback is extremely important. I'm a big fan of the technique exit ticket, and as I work online, every day I ask them a question: what have you learned today? And what was the most interesting for you? What was the most important thing to learn from today's lesson? And if you work online, you can use Zoom chat box, messengers, and Google Forms for this. Also, another point to consider is open tasks. And if we set an open task, we can give them a choice, which is extremely important for them. Sometimes it's really challenging for them to continue 6 sentences. So I said the task has continue, choose and continue 3 sentences. And they use their own ideas and think it's also about building self-consciousness and provoking thinking. I felt disappointed because, and if you ask a question, how did you spend the weekend? They say something like, I don't know, it was okay. But think about your weekend and continue this sentence with any possible variant using your own ideas. Changes the task completely and can make a U-turn in your teaching. Role-playing games is one more important aspect which helps them to start a very vivid discussion, because they take a role of a character, and it is not the student himself who makes a mistake. It's a character they play for who makes a mistake, and this can reduce the fear of making mistake. One more important aspect to take into account while playing role-playing games is to set the aim, to use resources, and to implement interaction between students in your lessons. This is the example of a role-playing game which I played with my students, and I'm definitely sure that a perfect role-playing game will be on Trendy English, and you know you are going to have an English camp, yes, Trendy English camp. So visuals very important. I came up with this idea when I conducted lessons for my students, and they said that it's very important for us to see they spend a lot of time in their gadgets, of course, but they got used to visual information, and I sometimes use pictures like this for warming up or for setting a leading in for my classes, and use the technique which is called break your own record. I ask them to talk about each picture. For example, say 3 sentences about the picture, and I set the time limit. For example, please switch on your stopwatch and say 3 sentences about the picture. After that, I ask them to stop the stopwatch and to do it again, changing the picture. And usually they break their own record. So we do not compare them with each other. We compare their own results with their own results. And this is what I wanted to tell you. And these are the ideas I wanted to share. Thank you for attention. And if you have some questions, do not hesitate to contact me or to follow me or to drop me a line. Thank you very much.
Great. That was wonderful. Everybody's fast today. Look at that. I'm going to have to shorten these talks. That was wonderful. Many people don't realize my favorite thing to teach is actually teens. And I actually miss it with being here in Poland now. And what I found is, and you touched on it, is we don't ask the students what they want. We tell them what we expect them to do, and they have no interest, and then we wonder why they're not engaged. So great ideas there. Thank you so much for sharing, Eleonora.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Hope to see you again soon. And next, we're going to switch over to Anita. Let me give you co-host. And you're no stranger to EFL Talks?
No, I'm slightly worried that my internet is not good enough. Is it okay?
Yeah, seems fine.
My cat is locked outside of this room, so you don't have to worry about this.
Thank you.
I'm prepared.
Good. And is this your third talk?
With you? No, just second.
Second? Okay. Good.
So I'm waiting for an invitation for the third one, right?
I'll be inviting you soon. Very good. So we have 10 minutes on the timer, and I can answer that question right now.
Okay, and so we can do it shorter then, right?
My answer is no, but I'm talking about myself. 4 years in Poland, and I can't speak. Good.
Actually, this is what I'm going to be talking about. Am I starting my timer, right?
Ready? Go.
Yes. Super. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Quick hello to Natalia, who's very active in the chat. So, Natalia, if you can answer that question as well, that would be lovely. I'm going to read your answer later today after the talk. And I'm slightly worried now because Karina told everybody to proof check all the written production. And now I'm worried about my presentation and typos there. And I just wanted to say, Eleonora, to you, if you need somebody to tell a story about how they lost their passport when they were abroad, you can invite me and I can make a little talk for your students about that experience. Anyway, hi everybody again. I'm Anita Modestova. I teach English. I say I learn Italian. I've been learning it for about 10 years. Probably like Rob has been learning Polish in Poland, but I'm learning it in Moscow. So it's recreational learning, I guess. I'm still A2. And I've been running Teachers Teach Teachers, a peer learning program for English teachers for about 2 years now. And all this experience brings me to this question I'm asking you today. I'm asking myself today. I'm offering to to discuss is, are language teachers good language learners or not? So please answer in the chat. To start with, I'm going to share that 2 years ago, we started an experiment together with Andrew Walkley, who is a co-author of Teaching Lexically book and the Outcome series. I started teaching him Russian, and we wanted to see if this lexical approach works for other languages, Russian in this case. Later on, so I have some like proof on the screen that we really have been doing it. So there's a video of our talk. Here is like a screenshot of our Google Doc and my blog on Instagram. When I started blogging about it, I got several comments like, okay, Anita, that's like, he's a good learner because he's an English teacher himself and a teacher trainer, and your experiment is not valid, actually. And at that time, I agreed. I mean, I thought that it was like true that the progress and the regularity of the lessons and that he does his homework and all that stuff that like belongs to good students, he does it because he is an English teacher. But at about the same time, I started running Teachers Teach Teachers, and I've been observing our teachers and myself studying there. And today I'd like to share several thoughts and several things I heard teachers say. First one, this is a great one. I hope you recognize it. I don't have time to do my homework. So the first time I realized that when I was studying Italian with my Italian teacher, and every time we'd come to class, and I think the first thing I learned in Italian was like zero. Zero compiti per caso or something like this. See, my Italian. So, and anyway, it was like I didn't do it. I didn't have time. And at TDT we have teachers, and we study like once a week, and of course if you don't do your homework when you study once a week, next time you come to class and you like remember nothing from the previous lesson. And first, when I observed this about myself, I was terribly ashamed, because I'm a teacher. Why don't I do homework? I know it's essential. But then I noticed other teachers do the same, or like not do the homework. I relaxed a little bit and kept observing. That's a very relaxing thing to do. But this is just the truth we can accept, that being a teacher doesn't necessarily make you do your homework and do it on time. And what's worse, some of us, and like even like I myself sometimes feel, when I haven't done my homework, if the teacher did give the homework bit, I have a like desire not to show up in class. And I'm pretty sure that your students sometimes do the same. And recently I gave a talk for Trendy English as well about homework, and that we had like a heated discussion about if we should or should not give homework. So I suggest everybody be careful with homework, because even teachers don't have time to do that. And but that's a whole talk, and probably longer than 10 minutes. My second very big surprise happened when I talked to some participants of a CAE preparation group. So these students were like accepted to the course to do to prepare for this CAE exam, and at some point I realized that for 3 months they had been studying grammar somehow before actually starting learning with the book. So they ignored the lesson plan, the lesson structure, like the order of the lessons that was suggested, because they thought they were not good enough to start preparing for the exam, because they needed to brush up on their grammar. And I know that sometimes students come to us saying like, ooh, I want to speak English, but first I need to recap on grammar. So it's a tendency somewhere there, and teachers also fall into this kind of trap, no matter how good they are, because obviously if you're preparing for CAE, there is not a lot of grammar you can revise, and their problem, what they thought, was that they are not producing this in speech, but that's the problem with advanced grammar. It's hardly ever used in speech. It's advanced grammar, if it even exists. Next thing, and this is my favorite, all-time favorite, I need better English for work. This is what teachers say, obviously, because I work with teens, I work with kids, I work with low levels, but I'm so busy right now. I'm gonna learn English later one day. And I keep hearing this for like, it's out there, and I'm pretty sure you know a lot of teachers who can say something like this. So in the end, these are all the same things that our students normally tell us. And this is my favorite thing, is teacher's paradox. I hope like the picture is not offensive. I just wanted to show my surprise that every time we speak with teachers, when we analyze advanced level classes, there is, as students, they share that they didn't have enough time to speak. But then when analyze them from teacher's point of view and from lesson planning view, there is a stereotype that a speaking class, that when there is a lot of speaking, like more than 50% of the class, it's not a lesson, it's a speaking club. And it means that the teacher is doing a bad job. So we kind of want speaking and want to improve our speaking, but we're not doing this because it might be looked upon like, you know, as like you're not doing your work. And I don't really know what to do with this. Just wanted to share with you if you can notice the same paradox about your classes and if there is enough speaking. And to sum up, I want to say that teachers are human, which is a good thing to know. We want the same things when we study. We want our mistakes, all of our mistakes, to be corrected. We want translation, even at advanced levels. Sometimes I want like, it's okay, and I write something into Russian or into Spanish, because sometimes it helps just to have a translation to a different language, you know. We want faster progress, and we know that, I mean, it's not possible, but I mean, we still want it. It's okay. You name it, like, you know, all those things that students tell you, we are subject to all those kind of traps, maybe mistakes and stereotypes as well. So answering these questions, and like, I wish, you know, I had more experience when 2 years ago when I agreed that Andrew is a good student because he's an English teacher. Are we good language learners? Oh, we can be. Yeah. So going back to Andrew's story, he does a lot of things that other students who are not language teachers do, and that's why he's a very good language learner. And I also have students who are not English teachers who can learn language really well, and I also have teachers who sometimes, like myself, for example, yeah, don't do homework, skip classes, and like kind of procrastinate for 10 years instead of just getting down to it and learning the language. Or maybe there is pleasure in that as well. So we can be good language learners, or we can learn to be. And here is, oh my God, I forgot to edit to a slide, because there's 10 slides now, I remember. So what I wanted to say is that here, being a teacher might probably make it harder for you, because you all know you have this checklist of a good language learner, of a good student, and when you start learning something, you understand you don't match those, you don't tick those boxes, and that guilt, that shame, kind of makes it only worse. So what I wanted to say, that if you're an English teacher and you think you need to improve English, you're basically talk to yourself as if you would be talking to your students, and this might help. And if you think you need English, just start learning it. And as teachers, we're in this forever. Yeah, so at some point with my English, I accepted that I think I'll be teaching English for a while. I don't live in an English speaking country. I didn't learn English when I was a child, so basically I need constant practice, and I just added it to my schedule, like psychotherapy probably, and it's gonna be there forever. Thank you so much for having me today. And if you want to reach me, this is my email, this is my Facebook, my 2 Instagrams. I'm everywhere. If you speak English, if you speak Russian. Oh, and this is the timer. Thank you so much. Still the timer clicking. Stop.
Perfect timing, as always.
You trained me.
Good. You studied well.
Thank you.
Really? What level is Andrew at now?
Sorry?
Russian.
Andrew, now I'm gonna reveal the real truth. Now we started more relaxed way of learning. Yeah, he's about A2. I'm a very bad Russian teacher. That's his problem. He doesn't realize that, because I'm not a Russian teacher. I'm an English teacher. Mm-hmm. And there is a weird way I guess the same with Polish, I'm pretty sure. the levels that work a bit differently in a way because of the, maybe, I don't know, at least the Russian course books, they have different names for everything and different certification levels, you know. But as an English teacher, I assess he's Russian, and they're like, to me, it's kind of A2, you know. And I think it's good because it's very adult A2, you know. You can speak about different things, and
it's actually an interesting question, you know. I'm American and I'm teaching English, but you know, I do speak other languages, and the question is, could I teach those other languages? And you know you're a great English teacher. It's funny to hear you say that I'm not a good Russian teacher when teaching your own language.
I'm not. I like, and I think that's the second, like two things that they don't transfer. If you're a good language teacher, you're not necessarily a language learner. Good language learner, and the same with, like, if you teach one language really well, doesn't mean you'll be teaching a different one.
Sure. And it's kind of interesting to think of it that way, and we usually don't think about it until you brought it up. But that's great. So, molto grazie.
Niente. Yeah, so that's why I'm confusing it with Spanish language interpreter.
I mix everything now, you know, between learning French, Italian, and Portuguese.
Prego. No, I remember the correct answer is okay. I better switch off and
Prego
my
is
Italian.
Okay.
Prego.
Prego.
Okay, yes.
So, arrivederci, Anita.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Great. Okay, so we're going to move on to Elena, and let me give you co-host. Hello, Elena.
Hello again. So now I look better, I think, than before.
No,
So
you look perfect.
Thank you. So I will try to demonstrate the. Okay, is it okay?
How to deal with the pink elephant in the classroom. Yes, it's perfect.
Yes.
You're a neurolanguage coach also.
Yes. I'm a neurolanguage coach. Hello, everyone. Yeah, Rob, thank you for having me here, and Evgeny as well. And, you know, I'm really thrilled to be among such amazing educators who I can see that they really love what they are doing and they're committed to making the modern world of education better. My name is Alena Fomichova, and I'm a teacher. I'm a certified neurolanguage coach accredited by the International Coaching Federation and the teacher trainer. And, you know, in my work, I deal with the learners of all ages, but still I consider myself as an advocate of children and teenagers learning the languages. I've been working with them for probably more than 15 years, and I can say that the portrait of a learner has changed a lot. So I'll try to, okay. So the learner of today is absolutely different. That means that the teachers of today should become different as well. And that's great to know that now many teachers are really changing, picking up new skills, paying a lot of attention to emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and the brain. But some of them still ignore those things using the old patterns. Anyway, there's one thing we all have in common. We all want our learners to study better with passion. We all want them to have better results. And to achieve that, we need to bring our learners, to bring them in so-called perfect learning state. That's why I thought to talk today about the big pink elephant in the classroom, which is usually, you know, ignored, but which needs to be removed first so that we can have our learners in their perfect learning states. And this is about the brain, but I'll get to it in a bit. So now, if to speak about the learners of today, they are interesting, they're absolutely unique, they're multitasking, but at the same time, their attention span is less than it used to be. And they have a lot of external distraction. We know about their gadgets, and of course they are overloaded at school, and they have many things to do and to study fast. and they're often stressed, especially during this lockdown period. But still, they want to learn, and we want them to learn as well. And we want them to be curious, to be interested in what they are doing, to be motivated, to be successful. And to achieve all of these, we need to become more than teachers for them. We need to become their partners. We need to become their coaches, if you like. We need to be non-directive, to pay attention to their motivations, to their emotions, to ask them what and how they want to learn, and just in order to make the learning process more personal, more interesting for them. And we also need to go beyond empathy to compassion. And my first practical tip for today is when, for example, if you talk to your learner about his or her problem, you can go like this, I know how you feel. I can see, that you have some problems with this or that, but how can I help you? What can we do together to help you study better? Or what can we do to help you not forget about your home practice and do it on time? So here, open questions and active listening are really the key. And finally, we need to bring neuroscience in education, because our learners don't learn with their arms or legs only. They learn with their brain. And this is that pink elephant in the classroom, which is often ignored. Here, of course, we don't need to go deep into neuroscience and get stuck there forever. No. We just need to take those things that can really apply, that we can really apply. So as educators, we need to understand how people learn, how the brain works, how the brain reacts, because our brain is awesome. And you can see no two brains are the same. That means that every learner is unique. Our brain works around the clock, making new neural connections, remembering, recalling, analyzing, visualizing, processing information and stuff. So, and it's so impressive for its neurogenesis and neuroplasticity that proves forever that it's never late to learn a new language. So discovering how a neural language I'm sorry. How neuroscience can help us to get our students into their perfect state. The first thing here is our constant striving for the calm brain state of our learners. Because if they're stressed, if they are under pressure, worried, or afraid of something, their brains can't work properly. That means our students can't learn, they can't remember, they can't analyze, they can't even understand what we are talking about, or what we are telling them. And I'll show how it works, I hope in a simple way. So, there are many different and complex areas in our brain, and two of the most important areas for the learning process are hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. So as you can see, our hippocampus, it's a kind of it is responsible for, it decides what to store in the long-term memory, what to store in short-term memory. It's like organizing, the boss, the encoder. And if to speak about prefrontal cortex, it is responsible for analyzing, creating, planning, learning, remembering, making decisions, visualizing, and it is the part that is the most active when we are consciously concentrating, and it's involved in our working memory. And finally, you can see that red button. This is the amygdala, which is a part of our emotional brain, or the limbic system, or simply it's our alarm button. And the matter is, our brain is always scanning everything for threat or reward. And for example, if this alarm is triggered, urgent messages are sent to every major part of our brain. The body's fight or flight mechanism starts to mobilize. We all know those, not good feelings such as such quickened heart rate, raised blood pressure, rapid breathing, shaking hands and legs. And those are manifestations of our fight or flight state. And this happens with our learners. In this state, some of important brain areas, including hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, as you can see, are blocked. And our learner can't learn or do anything properly. And you can see that neuroscientists have demonstrated that one dose of cortisol makes it impossible to learn. And the situation where the amygdala, our red button, can be triggered are different. It's not only about, shouting, teachers, tests, exams, time pressure, fear to be punished for not doing home tasks and stuff. It's also about some social situations as well. For example, a fear to speak foreign languages in public. For example, as for today. Yeah, or for example, if to speak about our learners, it can be a fear to say something in English during the lesson, to make a mistake in front of his or her classmates and to be laughed at. In other words, it's a learner who feels a social or emotional pain that, according to the researchers, is considered by our brain as similar to physical pain. In this case, there can be another state for our learners, not fight, not flight, but freeze. And we all probably know the situation when our learner can't say anything, keeps silence when being asked even an easy something. In this case, as a teacher, as a neurolanguage coach, paying attention to how our brain works, I would avoid things that can trigger my learner's limbic reactions, limbic system, starting from using, for example, another classroom language. For example, home practice or home training instead of home task or homework, consolidation instead of tests, permission questions. People or children and teens, they like them a lot. Can I share, can I ask you, something like this, and they calm the brain. Or for example, you can use such phrases as what if we do this today, or that would be great if we do that today or now, instead of we need, you must, you have to, and so on. And if to speak about that frozen learner who is afraid of speaking or doing something, of course, I would build a very, very quiet, very brain-friendly coaching conversation. I would I would show my compassion. I would acknowledge that she or he is feeling. I would ask powerful questions, of course, with permission. I will be active listener. And of course, with permission, I would talk about the brain and I would explain how the brain works in a simple way. And one more thing, I will explain there are no crocodiles that can cut her legs or arms just because of making a mistake. So I hope I'm on time to finalize everything that had been said. I would like to wish you keep your learner's brain calm and teach languages. I'm Alona, I'm done speaking, and I'm sorry, but I haven't put any of my contacts. So, sorry.
Very good. Well, it was nice to see you using the information that we both learned from Rachel Painter.
Yes. She's my everything. And yes.
Are you planning on going to Sitges for the conference?
Unfortunately, yes. I was at the previous conference, and I had the chance to watch your talk as well, and I made lots of notes, And yes. This conference, of course, I can't miss it. Unfortunately, we can't do it personally, but anyway, maybe later next year. Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
I spoke to Rachel on Friday. She's in Sitges right now looking at the location. And very excited. Hopefully, if I get my shot before then, I may actually be there this year. So
That would be great. I spoke to Rachel yesterday. She's really thrilled about the conference.
yeah.
And yes, she blessed me. I showed her my presentation, and she blessed me and said, "Go on." Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Elena. And I'll see you again soon, I hope.
For sure.
Great. Thanks. Okay, so next up, we're going to go to Tatiana. And let me make you co-host. And hello, Tatiana. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, just
We hear
checking.
you fine. We see you fine.
Good. Thank you very much. It's my first time here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, welcome.
And today, I'm going to try to find the answer. Oh, sorry. Just will start over with my presentation.
Yeah.
Today, I'm going to try to find the answer to the question, how to encourage young learners to think critically. Just for starters, I want to say that I'm really, really, really happy that all the topics today are kind of interconnected because, oh, here it is. Because we're all going to talk about teenagers, we're going to talk about their thinking skills and how to encourage them, to motivate. Yeah, and by young learners here, I mean those from 7 to 18, 17. So there are several core tenets that I want to cover in this presentation. First of all, this is the purpose. It's important for young learners to show them the purpose of the activity that we're doing. The thinking time is also important for them. The questions, it's important to ask correct, right questions, both for the students themselves and for the teacher. Peer support is absolutely crucial, and it's not my idea, but it was Lev Vygotsky who first started this topic. Responsibility is also crucial for young learners, especially for teenagers, to be able to think critically, and the special mindset of a critical thinker and someone who can evolve. So let's move on and talk about all these things in more details. So show the purpose. We are used to the idea that young learners, especially teenagers, they lack motivation. But in fact, I suppose that what they really lack is the willingness to do something that they are not familiar with, something that they do not understand what's in it for them, for their personal well-being, how it is connected with them. Here you can see a photo from one of my lessons. We read a text about food miles, which is the distance food makes from the moment of the production to the plates in our houses. This could be just a text for them, because like, okay, yes, yeah, we know, we understand the food travels, but they decided to bring the real food and did some research. They studied the package and they tried to analyze. For example, they were surprised to learn that the chips, potato chips, they were expected to be produced somewhere abroad because the brand is foreign, but they were produced locally. And they were even happy to eat them. And then the tomatoes, for example, we thought they were local, but in fact they were produced from far away from our Rostov region. That is important. This is the real life application of things. They started thinking, okay, do I need to read the food package? How does it affect my health? One real life aspect of critical thinking. And an important thing is that there is no rush at all when we work with young learners. They really need some thinking time. We've talked today about the reluctance of young learners to speak. Maybe they cannot speak because they just they need some time to tune in, to formulate everything, because they're so afraid to be laughed at, as it was already mentioned today. So the teacher should not expect the immediate response. What's more, if you ask them a question, something that they need to reflect on, do not expect them to just to start speaking at once. Give them some time. If you repeat the question once again, trying to help, of course, but it will mean that the whole thinking process will start over again, like you reboot the system. So please keep calm and just learn to wait. This is connected with the next thing. Young learners are naturally curious. They keep asking a lot of questions, which sometimes annoys us as parents, maybe. But as teachers, and as good parents as well, we need to foster these things. We need to encourage them to ask a lot of questions, because curiosity, in fact, did not kill the cat and did not kill any teenager, for example. This allows more opportunities for generating new original ideas. If we ask them open-ended questions, if they themselves ask open-ended questions, like what is the problem? Why is this happening? This will lead to deeper learning, deeper engagement with the object learning. And an important thing is, whenever they ask questions themselves, when they answer your questions, there are no right or wrong answers. We agree to disagree. This will help to promote their own opinion, and they will not be afraid to express themselves. This is again connected with this peer support. We know that the students develop well when they have the support of their peers, their zone of proximal development, and so on. But I wanted to introduce this idea of press F to respect. All our young learners play video games, and there's this rule that they all follow 100%. If you want to show respect to somebody in a game, you should press F. This is the rule that I try to apply in my classroom. They all accept each other's opinions. They do not literally press F, but they demonstrate the respect, which helps to promote safer environment for them to be able to think and answer the questions. We need to hand in responsibility to the students. For example, here in the photo, you can see one of the students presenting his talk about Stephen Hawking. They chose different personalities. The choice of personality is up to them. Every person in class has assigned a personality to study, and then in whatever format they want, they give presentation. All others listen and ask questions. They try to find more details just during the lesson, after the talk, and they have nice discussions. If we, for example, read a book, reading is always an active process. We always read critically, we ask the questions. So you can set different roles, set up different roles when reading something. So one can be discussion leader, the manager of discussion. Another one will be the word master, picking up all the cool words, culture collector, the connector who's going to connect the text with our own experience. This is safer for the students when they don't have to think about everything at once, but they have their own, sector, their something that they are responsible for. Gradually, they will come to this more multitasking. They become more multitasking in the critical thinking. And we need to foster growth mindset. This idea was introduced by Carol Dweck, famous American professor and psychologist. According to this idea, a mistake is an opportunity to learn in a very, very, very broad sense. So a person with a growth mindset compared to the one with a fixed mindset never sees a mistake as the end of the world, doesn't shut up and stop saying anything. But a mistake is something that is a kind of a trigger for me. Okay, stop here. What can I do to become better at this? What can I learn from this? This idea promotes self-evaluation, self-regulation, and autonomous learning, something that Dmitry Nikitin was talking about in more details, and it's also connected with those checklists for writing and so on. When you can think critically about yourself, about your own work, that is also important. And I can say that, well, critical thinking is also kind of a mindset when we're able to think reflectively, rationally, and reasonably. These are the 3 R's of critical thinking. Thinking reflectively actually means to be able to toss and turn one idea in your brain, to think about it from every angle, to be able to ask questions like why, what if, and what does that mean to me, to all other people. Thinking rationally means to try to find some good arguments, to be able to accept the arguments that are there. And being able to think reasonably means to be able to think, like bias free, without any prejudice. Only reason, cold reason, helps you to think about that. I think that is everything I wanted to say. Here is my 10th slide with my contacts. Feel free to contact me. Critical thinking is one of my favorite topics, and I could talk about it 10 hours, but 10 minutes is a challenge to talk about that.
Well, when we do EFL Talks 10 hours, I'll know who to invite.
Okay, thank you very much. I will be waiting for that.
That was great. And, there's two great points that, I talk about this myself in my talks. The whole idea of there is no wrong answer. Teenagers, we were all teenagers. We had stupid opinions too. The point is they're developing their voice, and right or wrong with what they're saying, they need the freedom to be able to be allowed to say it. And, you're not there to win an argument. You're there to teach them English. And, I really love the idea of letting them make the choices and buying in on ownership of whatever the project is, because you'll be a lot more successful if you let them have ownership. So that was wonderful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so ask good questions. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Bye now. So next up, we go to Elena, and let me make you a co-host. And you couldn't resist trendy English games. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you. And today I'm not going to talk about games. I'm going just to share my experience of an online teacher and what I've learned.
Okay. All right. Well, going to, present mode. Okay. So the drill. You've been here as often as I have. So 10 minutes.
It's always a challenge. And I feel well, I'm a little bit nervous right now. Yeah, it's just my heart is beating. Yeah.
It's me. I have that effect on you. I know.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. Take it away, Elena. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So I can start now. So my name is Elena Peresada, and I started teaching English in 1998. So I think that I'm an experienced English teacher, and I know how to handle and how to deal with any situation in the classroom. Well, actually, this is what I thought before March 2020. And then when we all had to go online, I just faced a lot of new problems and challenges and difficulties, just as many of us did. And everything I knew about dealing with my class, well, well, I had to learn everything again. I had to start from the scratch. And so today I just want to share some of my maybe tricks, something which I use now when I work with online students. Well, after after 2020, well, I have some students who are still online, and we decided not to go to physical classroom, as online teaching, well, and learning is a little bit more convenient for my students. So when our students come to our lessons, well, to tell the truth, they don't come to our lessons just to study English. They come to have fun, I think, and to enjoy the learning experience. And when we all went online, that was the biggest problem, I think. This lack of interaction, and so what we, as English teachers, what we all tried to do to avoid the feeling of loneliness and to keep everyone in contact. Usually in a physical classroom, students have some time before the lesson. They can interact, they can chat with one another, share some news. Well, teacher doesn't start the lesson just immediately. And but in Zoom, the situation is a little bit different. You come to your online lesson and here is the lesson. So this is what I came up with. So never join the lesson before my students. So my students can enter the room. I put the sign on my screen. I write about something which they have to prepare for the lesson, and I leave them for 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes on their own, just to make sure that they've got enough of small talk, and only then we are ready to start our lesson. Well, this is a trick which works very well with not with young learners, with teens and with adults. Well, another point, when we work in physical classrooms, it is very easy to grab our students' attention. They are always focused on you. Of course, online, when we work online, there are a lot of distractors, just cats passing by our students, their mobiles, just anything can distract them. That's why it is very important just to start a lesson with something bright and just to catch their attention. Something like this, for example. So that can be the first activity of my lesson. So can you tell me what is in this picture? If you see this picture, well, definitely these are not bananas. Any ideas what it might be? Well, students come up with their ideas, and then I reveal the truth. Well, actually, these are not bananas, these are pencils. Okay, that gave me an opportunity to catch my students' attention. Another problem which we can face when we work online, especially if we work with teens. Teens don't want to turn on their videos. And as a teacher, I feel very lonely when I can't see my students' faces. But why do they have to turn on their videos? Well, teenagers, if they don't see the reason why they have to do this or that, they will never do it. That's why we can play some kind of games where video is important. Well, this is not a picture of my students. This is a picture from one of the sessions with the teachers. But still, this is the activity which we always start our Zoom sessions, and we can start our lessons with students as well. Okay, our videos are off. Then I start asking yes/no question. And if your answer is yes, you turn on your video. If your answer is no, you don't do it. And this helps students just to play with their video, okay? They turn it on, then they turn it off, and they feel a little bit more relaxed. Or we can play a game which is called Never Have I, when you show 5 fingers and then you say an activity which you've never done in your life. But if somebody in the group has done it, that person has just to do it like this, and just to put cat. So what's the English for it? Yeah, to do it like this, like on my video. Okay, and the winner is the person who puts down all 5 fingers. Well, this gives our students an opportunity. It gives our students the reason why they have to use their videos. And then when their videos are on, they just forget to turn them off. And well, then the lesson goes on, well, in a relaxed mode. Okay, I think what we lack when we work online is this feeling of relatedness, and that's why online it is even more important to work on team building as we did online or in physical lessons. So what else can help us as online teachers to produce this oxytocin in our students and just to build this feeling of relatedness? We can discuss some common things which we have together with our students. We can share a meal. It's when you eat with somebody, you feel that you are getting closer and closer to this person. I like this type of activities. Show your pet and talk about it. Show your desk and talk about it. And this helps it helps us all to become closer to one another. And of course, if you share some thrilling experience, just like playing games, it also helps to build this feeling of relatedness. Here we've got a link to our playlist on YouTube, where you can listen to some other talks about team building activities. And if you are interested in working on team building with your students, okay, then you can follow this link and just watch some videos and pick up some other ideas which we and our colleagues have got for you. Okay, talking about games. Of course, when I worked offline, when I worked in physical classrooms, I played a lot of games with my students. When we went online, at first I couldn't play many of them, and of course my students didn't like this idea. Okay, now we don't play games, we just learn all the time. But then with the help of our partners, Znania platform, we could put a lot of our games online, and I could play these games with my students. Okay, I'll just show you how students are engaged when they play games online. Oops. Sorry, something went wrong.
Vika, what does Nick look like?
Nick.
I don't know. И кнопочка значит нажать. Сейчас. Илья. What does Lucy look like? I don't know. Какой Алекс? Стоп, нет, подождите, Google, уйди, Google. Нет, все. Так, в общем. Оскар, what does Bill look like?
Okay,
Bill.
I'll stop here. Okay, you can learn more about these games if you follow the link in the chat or if you scan QR code on the screen. But of course, you don't need to play all these games which are already prepared for you. If you use PowerPoint or Jamboard, you can also invent a lot of, or you can adjust a lot of games from physical classroom to your online lessons. When I work with young learners and when I teach them how to read, I can use just this game. So when I hide the picture and I ask my students to read the word, and then we check if what they read, if it is correct. So I just can hide some pieces of information on the screen, and I use Jamboard a lot. If you take a photo of your student and put it on a Jamboard, and then your student will jump maybe on these stones and try to cross lava. So your students will be happy and they will feel that they are really in the game, and they will feel that they will feel as if they were really in the classroom and not in Zoom lesson. Okay, and I just want to share one more video with you, which we made with our students. When you make videos like this, it also helps to build relatedness, and students can feel that they belong to this group and they are not just individuals working online.
Yes.
Okay, I have a pen.
Pass me the pen, please.
Here you are.
Thank you. Pass me the pen, please. Ее. Thank you. Петя, pass me the pen, please. Here. Thank you.
Leah, pass me the pen, please.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, just to finish my talk, I'd like to say that when we work online, it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, the knowledge of different tools and techniques is very important. But the first thing to think about this is team building activities and building this relatedness in our classroom. Because online, all the problems which we can face, well, the reason for many of them is loneliness of our students. Okay, thank you. That's it.
A little over 10, but I gave it to you.
Oh, really? Was it more than?
That's okay. It was great. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Okay, we'll see you soon. And next up, we go to the boss man. Come on in, boss man. He's
Okay,
my
hello.
boss.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello. So thank you, Ron, thank you, Rob, for this moderation and for your very insightful comments. Right. So it's a nice bunch of people we've collected today, and I suppose their talks are absolutely different, but I believe they have something in common, and they touch upon different issues related to teaching. So in my talk today, I'd like to speak about creativity. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Okay, so my name is Evgeny Usachov, and I'm a trendy person. Yeah, actually, I develop trendy English community with Elena and some other team members. At the same time, I'm a teacher and I work for the Moscow International Academy, a teacher training department where we teach trainers, and I also conduct lessons with adults and teens. So my topic today, I believe why it is important that at times we don't really remember about that we develop in our students not only say language skills, speaking skills, listening skills, and some other skills, but we do need to develop their creativity and their creative skills in our classrooms. I'd like to start with a quotation, which I really like, that creativity is experimenting, and we do experiment in our lessons, right? It's growing. So our task is to grow our students. Again, not only in language area, right? Taking risks. So when our students are creative, of course, it's inevitable to take risks and breaking rules and making mistakes, right? But at the same time, creativity is a real fun. It's about having fun. So two important points I'd like to start with. So sometimes people say I'm not creative. I don't know how to create anything. So, and what shall I do? So these 2 points are vital, I believe, in creativity development. First of all, creativity is about wanting to be creative. So first, the first idea, we need to create such an environment in which our students do want to be creative. Okay, and the second point, which is also crucial, is creativity is a decision one makes. And first of all, as teachers, we need to make this important decision that our lessons will be filled with some creative activities, right? And at the same time, it's the student's responsibility to make a decision to be creative, okay? So there are some worrying trends in English language teaching related to creativity development. Everyone just watched the nice sorry. It's Siri which somehow started. Okay, so about creativity, Ken Robinson and his famous talk, School Skill Creativity. So on the slide, you can see some worrying trends in LT, which also are, so to some extent, are obstacles to develop creative skills in our students. First of all, it's class size. So, you know, it's a trend that classes are becoming bigger and bigger. And it's getting harder and harder to put in some creative activities. The second one is dependence on mass-produced course books, which have guidelines and things like that. They might have some creativity activities within, but still, I suppose in most cases, it's the teacher's role to create some sort of environment which fosters creativity. Another issue here is emphasis on exam and exam-focused teaching. So there is no time for creative activity. We within the framework, we focus our attention, and students make effort how to prepare successfully for exams. Another issue is big data and computer-generated learning pathways, which also to some extent may kill creativity. And another trend is the following, that English is employability skill is considered to be more important than quality of life enhancement. That is true, especially about teachers. And last but not least, over-dependence to some extent on technology, right? So we are facing these trends and we need to find the right solution to that. Okay, so I'm going to share some practical activities which I practice in my classes with both teens and adults. Just, they are not regular, I would say, but from time to time try to fill in an activity like this into the class and make my students be creative just for a while. But I'm convinced that it's important for the sake of their emotional intelligence development, such as an activity you see on the slide. Take a minute to check how you're feeling. Yeah, first of all, they need to concentrate on their feelings. Then create a sound or a gesture or both that express how you feel. And then they have to go into pairs and share sound and gesture. It's not only in terms of this body language activity, right? But as a follow-up, for instance, I gave them a list of vocabulary items, in this regard, different adjectives, and they are supposed to create sounds of movements in response to the following words, such as satisfied, happy, frustrated, exhausted, whatever. So again, it's up to us to give them a particular list. Would like them to create some sound and movements. The second activity, which I particularly like, I believe it may be applicable not only to students, but to teachers as well. It's called the best 15 minutes of your day. Yeah. So what you need to do, you need to close your eyes and think about the best 15 minutes of your day so far. And doing that, you have to think about where you were, who you were with, what time it was, the smells, the sounds, the voices around you. Okay. And another point here, what exactly was so special about this 15 minutes? Did something unique happen? Again, it gives students a nice chance to look back and concentrate on the most pleasurable things or best things they were doing within 15 minutes. Okay. And another point here, think about the following. What would you have made the experience even better? Yeah. We can practice conditionals here, but more importantly, we can think, we give them a chance of reflecting learning, right? They reflect. And as a communicative activity, they're supposed to share the experience with a partner. Another activity, which I also particularly like, and I do it with my students from time to time, it's called instrumental music. For instance, I say my students, you will hear a piece of music. Depending on the situation, it may be just sort of quiet music or energetic music, and they're supposed to write down anything the music evokes. It doesn't have to be a story. It may be just the shapes they see while listening, objects, colors, anything else. Or after that, I stop the music every 30 seconds, and then I say change. Yeah, at the end, after 30 seconds, they have to write what actually they saw, yeah? And then when I say change after another 30 seconds, they have to pass their sheet to their partner, and their partner is supposed to write something new. At the end of that, they can produce the story, or we can start the store of ideas based on their ideas, and maybe it will lead to communicative activity. Right. And one more exercise related to music, yeah? This time, students hear a piece of music or listen to a piece of music, and they write about it in visual terms, or they saw in the music, right? Some sketches, maybe pictures, whatever, and then they write it. Second time, they listen again and write about in auditory terms, what they heard, or maybe what memories the music just evoked. And third time, they listen and write about it in sensory terms, what they felt in the music. And every time there's a list of vocabulary items they are supposed to produce. So it's multi-sensory responses, if you know the theory of multiple intelligences. So it develops different intelligences in them, and it really helps them to be more creative if we, for instance, turn to another activity. Okay, so I strongly believe these activities help our students and us as teachers to pay attention and to have these moments of creativity in a lesson when we are not concerned about exam preparation or say doing just exercises. But these activities help them to have this feeling of creativity. And by these small steps, they can build up the confidence in being more creative in their lessons. So I'd like to share a few books which I have taken some ideas from. The first one is Being Creative by Delta Publishing, and the Chess Police book. Actually, it has lots and lots of practical activities. So, and some others like Imagine That. It's about mental imagery in the EFL classroom, or English through drama. Again, they are creative activities for in this regard for inclusive ELT classes, as well as John Hughes's book Critical Thinking in ELT and Ellen Mesley's 50 Creative Ideas. So, dear colleagues, thank you very much for your listening. My contacts are here. So as I said earlier, I work for the Moscow International Academy as a teacher training department head. And I'm also a Trendy English business development head. And it involves a lot of creativity, to be honest. I believe Yelena will prove that. Here are my contacts. I'm more than happy to share my ideas, or if you want to discuss issues like that. Actually, later on in a minute, we'll share with Rob a kind of new initiative. Yeah, so I'm open to any kind of discussion, cooperation, and thank Rob for having me today. I believe I won't be too long today.
Okay. Nope, that was great as always. Thank you so much. Let me change our view here. And wonderful. Actually, I'm kind of curious. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but with me growing up in the States and you being in Russia, what's the new attitude that's happening with assessment in Russia overall? Are they lightening up at all?
Oh, it's a big issue, to be honest. We have the Russian state exam, which is being reconsidered this time, I believe. It is supposed to be made more difficult. So, the ministry, or it's not the ministry, it's just the department, which is, or institute, it's called FIPI, which is so kind of Institute of Pedagogical Tests and Assessments. Mm-hmm. They are trying to make it more difficult in terms of for the sake that it's selective test, because based on the test results, students are enrolled in universities. So we are not supposed to have all the students getting 100 points out of 100.
Right.
But again, these changes are not always positive. So, and now it's say so it's a discussion among teachers. So it's one thing. In other assessment which we had in year 9 of students, yeah, we had so-called state exam, but the level was B1 because Russian national exam is B2 level, right? Actually, and the thing is, they just canceled it last year due to this pandemic situation, and after that, maybe there is no future for this exam. Yeah. And another big trend, of course, it's just international exams and Cambridge exams, which are still developing, right? And students in many situations take both. It's inevitable not to, they are supposed to take Russian state exam, but the format is, I would say, far from perfect, especially in terms of speaking. On the other hand, if they do Cambridge exams, it gives them necessary skills which may be vital for Russian national exam preparation. So, yeah, I suppose these two directions in which we are moving, say, improving Russian state exam and developing Cambridge exams, especially not developing, but using more and more Cambridge exams. Right, and for other exams, maybe they are not so popular, but still they are Pearson exams, Pearson tests, IELTS, and many other international exams.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's a huge question, and it's been a huge problem being online. How can you fairly do assessment without cheating and everything else? So we'll see.
Yeah, I suppose there are some systems. I suppose you've heard about this. Let me think. So it's just special equipment or just software which you need proctoring. Yeah, you might have heard about that. Yeah.
But there's so many easy ways to cheat.
Yeah. Still, yes. This and Pearson is doing a lot in, say, PT Academic. They have a special, say, department in Prosvещение. You know, it's a big publishing house, and they're supposed to launch it really soon. These are face-to-face, not face-to-face. They are live exams, I would say, but they are online exams. They are online, so you have to come to the building, do exam. Special equipment is ready. That's it.
Yeah.
And what is good, they are developing even not just typically grammar, use of English activities, which automatically check, but writing and speaking, procedures which are automated.
Very good. Okay, great. Well, we have, you want to announce?
Yeah. I suppose Elena will join me. Elena, will you, if she's here?
No, I think she ran away.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to share one slide. Just a second. Which is about our forthcoming events. Just a second. Here it is. Yeah. So you see there is a list of events which are on their way, I would say. So as soon as 17th and 18th of April, we have Trendy English Games Boost Camp, which is supposed to be, fingers crossed, offline. Yeah. And for those who can't come for offline or say face-to-face event, there will be a special day, 25th of April, and we'll be holding it online, right? So the next big event, which unfortunately we didn't make it last year due to pandemic, but it's traditional events and Trendy English St. Pete. Again, we have fingers crossed for this face-to-face event, which is last Sunday in May the 30th. The issue, the topic actually we are planning to cover, it's like new initiatives, and actually I would say the metaphor for that may be fair wind in our sails, because in many cases St. Pete is associated with a ship, so boat, and that's why we'll be moving in this direction. We'll have both tracks for teachers and for school directors. It's one day event. And of course, we are making first steps in preparation for Trendy English 10, which is the biggest event, and this is sort of jubilee this year. It's going to be late November, and I hope, Rob, you will have a chance to come and participate personally. So we have face-to-face and online format. So all the events are available. Information about the events is available or will be available on our trendyenglish.ru, and we are launching trendyenglish.com website, which is fully in English, and in our Twitter at Trendy English. Yes, it's about the events which are already planned, and another event I'd like to come up with, which we discussed with Rob. And this is Trendy English Talks Online. Trendy English Talks, EFLtalks together, right, Rob? And initial plan was, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, once a month. You suggested second Tuesday of the month, or?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, okay.
We need our first special guest first. I won't say who. I'm going to talk to somebody, but yeah, we'll come up with, one date that we'll regularly have, like second Tuesday of the month, so people can get in and, bring in guest speakers and open it up for discussions. Everybody's getting hot with Clubhouse these days. We're going to have a video Clubhouse.
Where we'll have the same rules like in Clubhouse, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, and give participants a chance to be on the stage and ask questions, share ideas.
Yep.
As in my understanding, Rob discussed it, the guest speaker is about, her talk is about 30 minutes, right? And then this discussion session, which may last, say, 30 minutes, an hour. Totally, we have 2 hours in mind, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. And we'll play it by ear, but I'm excited, and we have a whole world of speakers to bring in, and that's the beauty of online. And we can get different outlooks from all over the world, because really, when we're talking about this, we're talking about English everywhere and international English. So let's bring in international community together, and we hope you all join us. And get involved.
In terms of the topic to be selected, we may arrange it like so, a poll which topics are important. For instance, you can vote for the topic you'd like to be covered. Right, and the main idea, it's a absolutely free event. And I think the rule is no recording. Rob, what do you think? No recording.
No recording.
No recording. You have to be live. Yes, you have to be online live, right?
Yeah, this is it. We hope that everybody comes, turns on their microphone, turns on their camera, and the more people we get, we can break into break rooms and everything else. So give everybody a chance to voice their opinion. I know the biggest thing that we miss by being face-to-face is be able to have a discussion after a talk. And it's great for networking. It's great for sharing ideas. It's great for meeting new friends, meeting old friends. So come along. We'll be announcing it soon.
Okay.
Great. So as always, thank you so much. I want to thank all the amazing speakers. Thank you for taking
all the talks were amazing. True.
And thanks to everybody who's been watching on YouTube. Thanks to all of you who will be watching the recordings afterwards. And as always, you know, help us spread the word. You know, Trendy is a great partner. We enjoy working together, and I really enjoy working in Russia. I just wish I could get there for cheaper.
Yeah.
And, so I'm trying to take a DNA blood test to prove that I'm your cousin, Eugenie. So then I can get a cheaper visa. But
Okay.
yeah, it's thanks again for everyone. Thanks for organizing this. And as always, give me your ideas. Anybody interested? We love doing EFL talks. We have some more we're planning for the near future, but I have lots of free Sundays available. So if you'd like to do a EFL talk, if you have an idea, get in touch. And we hope to see you at the next one. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye now.